Welcome into the Clear as Mud podcast with I'm your host, Riveter. I'm joined today by the ever sexy E-boy, Banana Grabber.
Hey. That's what I have to say.
That's what you have to say? Tell you what. Well, looks
I've
like
been
we got
having protein farts all day today, dude. Just like that.
Protein farts.
Absolutely filthy. Hey, what's up, Zero Core? Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, Zero Core, always faithful in the... You know what? Zero Core is faithful even when he's not faithful.
Just like that horrible wife you have. No.
He may miss a slide, but he always watches the VOD afterwards, and you know what? And that's what I appreciate about him.
I appreciate Zero Core too. Number one OG. Him and Anime Chris.
Anime Chris, Zero Core. We have a lot of Joey West, yeah, and even your little buddy.
What's his H-Law?
Yeah, what's your little the?
Oh, Death Chicken.
Death Chicken, yeah. God, what a name, Death Chicken.
Death Chicken, Chicken of Death.
You know, with their help and their support and their sharing, I'm glad to say that, and I'm proud to say this. We're up to like 90 subs, dude. We got 90 subs.
We are up to 90 subs. Holy shit!
You know,
that's awesome. Thank you, guys.
It's, you know, a lot of times we talk about others, you know, YouTubers and I don't know what you'd call them, Twitter users and things. You know, they have thousands
media influencers.
Yeah. You know, they have thousands and thousands of followers. They have channels that have tens of thousands of subs or, you know, 100,000s of subs or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we may never get there. You know, we may not, that may never be us. And if it's not, you know what, that's cool, whatever. Right.
There are only two guarantees in life: death and taxes, baby.
Death and taxes. Exactly. And if we don't get there, that's okay too. Right. I mean, it's not the end of the world or anything like that because, you know, neither one of
yourself, champ. I'm in it for the money. Didn't you hear I became an NFT billionaire? I'm repping Tommy C's NFT right now.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you're repping Tommy's NFT merch there.
And if you go to Tommy C's server, they have regular shows that are done on the stages thing in Discord. Yeah. And even you can win a free shirt if you go into the radio show and recommend a song that Tommy actually likes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he'd like the stuff because I'm kind of really old school. You know, I'm older than Tommy. The kind of stuff I grew up with, he was still swimming around in his dad's nutsack. So
there you go.
You know, but you know, I'll say this, you know, my kids who are your age, grew up riding around in the vehicle with me and stuff and listening and now they love it. And they, you know, they still listen to some of the more, I guess, we'll call it current radio play or whatever, you know, they listen to that too, but
right.
You know, they don't,
what even is popular these days? Like radio music?
What
would it be, like the Weekend?
I can't tell you. I don't know because, you know, I quit DJing. And when I quit DJing,
I can't sleep until I feel your touch. That song rules, but that's about the only song by The Weeknd I actually like. Blinding Lights.
You know, when I quit DJing back, I guess a couple of years ago, whatever, I quit trying to stay on top of all that popular music and what was.
Oh, so you're a hipster before it was cool. You weren't into pop culture.
Well,
you're into the underground shit.
Hang on, well, you know, that's the weird thing about it, right? When you're doing proms and you're doing weddings and you have such and corporate events stuff, which is what I did, all that corporate events and stuff. You have such a wide diversity of age groups, right?
Right.
When you go to the proms and stuff, it's going to be the 18 to 15, 16-year-old, people. And so they're going to be wanting the current radio play and things like that, right? So I had to stay hip on what was there and what have you. Okay. But then when you go to a wedding, the wedding could be anything from current radio play to the 90s to the 2000s to the 80s.
But you always have the cha-cha slide in there.
You always have. There was some requirements.
Always have the cha-cha slide.
The cha-cha slide. The
wobble with me.
The electric slide. The chicken dance. There are some
the Macarena.
Yep. There are some staples to that stuff. 100%. And while I do miss it, because I enjoyed watching, people having a good time, young people dancing and weddings and that type of stuff. I don't.
There is a video out there of fat me with a beard doing the robot at a wedding dance off. And if God is good and actually cares about me, that will never come to light.
Well, now I have to search for it. Now I have to search for it and find it.
No. For the love of God. Let's hope.
I accept the challenge. Banana, I accept your challenge. I will find it.
Okay. Well, you find it, and I'm going to be very sad. A very sad banana.
All right. So let's get into some of what we have on the queue. The great news is we don't have anything this week to do with any type of misbehavior by anyone towards anyone else sexually, and praise Jesus for that. I was so sick of that shit.
What? That's crazy. We don't have any drama whatsoever.
Well, we got some drama. I think it's some drama, but it's stupid. It's
nonsense.
It's nonsensical. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, I think and of course this, and since it's the thumbnail, let's just get right into it. It's the like, I guess you'd call it the main story or the main thing or whatever. And I myself found this just, I don't know, insane, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, in case our viewers are not aware of, Meta, aka Facebook and Instagram, this past week put out a press release saying that they were going to allow for hate speech and calls of violence towards the Russian people, and they were okay with people calling for the assassination or murder of Vladimir Putin.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Warhawk metaverse, dude. All right. Sure.
Now So this article here says, this is from. I never can say this shit right. Reuters. So the Meta platform, Facebook and Instagram, will allow users in some countries to call for violence against Russia and Russian soldiers in the context of the Ukrainian invasion, according to internal emails seen by on Thursday in a temporary change to its hate speech policy. The social media company is also temporarily allowing some posts that call for death to Russian President Vladimir Putin or Barcelonian President Alexander Lukashenko, according to internal emails to its content moderators.
We're just fanning those flames, aren't we?
100%.
God, I don't know. Like, do you want amplified conflict on social media? I mean, is it part of the look? Let's take the veil off the story here. Facebook and Twitter work in tandem with the intelligence agencies. Like, come on, like there's no way that they don't. So, is this just them going public with the fact that they're starting campaigns to turn public sentiment against?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But see, one thing we have to remember here, right, is Facebook has extended former President Trump's suspension for 2 years and say it will only reinstate him if the risk to public safety has receded.
So wait, so calling for the death of another nation power, their leader, another power's leader, is let's do we'll do the graph. What's more safe? Escalating a conflict that could lead to global nuclear war.
Yes.
Trump. Obviously, Trump's way above that.
Oh yeah.
So if Trump's tweeting, but if we're gonna allow, I don't know. I don't believe logic exists anymore. Audience, call me out if I'm wrong here, but is Trump lower or higher on the scale? I believe, I don't know. I don't think that qualifies.
Nah, well, and so when Vladimir Putin was reached out to they wanted a statement for him, right? Here's what he had to say.
Okay. This is what he said.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Now, some of you are probably sitting there going, "What the fuck was that?" I know you were, because I was too when I found this video, right?
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's a deep fake, right?
It's a deep fake.
It has to be.
All right, so this just to show you guys here, right? This video was
fucking hell.
Yeah, it was uploaded on back in 2012, right?
Yeah, the year the world ended, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah, right. And here's the thing about
That's when they turned on that super collider, isn't it? The CERN. Yes, everyone's like, we opened up a portal to another dimension, and now we live in a parody of reality in a parallel universe. And like half of our consciousness got transferred over, and now we just live in this absurdity. But anyway,
there were some celebrities in attendance in the audience when this occurred. This was an actual real event. This actually happened back in 2010, and what it was a fundraiser for a children's. I can't remember, because I actually did look it up and research it a little bit. I just didn't care enough to remember everything. It was a fundraiser for this children's fund, orphanage or whatever in St. Petersburg there in Russia. Had some celebrities on hand like this here. Now, some of you guys may not know who this is, but back in the day, he was a lot slenderer, and he was kind of perceived as like a sex symbol. He had some allegations.
This guy?
Yeah, allegations. His name was Gerard Depardieu.
Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then if we come on over here, let's see here.
Who's that?
I'm not. I think that's Sharon Stone, maybe. I know she was there. And then we had. Then we had people like.
You can just play it, dude. Fucking play it.
No, I don't want to play. I don't want to hear Vladimir Putin singing the classic Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino. He butchers it, he ruins it, and I'm just not about that life. So this here is Goldie Hawn. This
Kurt
here
Russell.
And Kurt Russell. And then of course,
good job, Putin.
And then we had Kevin Costner. Yeah, that was just a few of the celebrities that were in attendance on that. That was back in 2010, so 12 years ago.
You got to at least get a little bit more of Putin singing, please. Just let it play a little bit longer. Come on.
God, okay, fine.
15.
My dreams came true. There in the willow play, love's sweet melody.
To see somebody who is a bona fide killer, like stone cold,
Yeah.
just top of the line assassin,
Ruthless.
singing that.
Ruthless, right?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Who's having his own countrymen who do not agree with this war rounded up. I speculate that they probably are having a bullet put in their head.
Siberia, you're going to work those ice blocks, dude.
The bottom line is they're not being treated well. I assure you that.
Hope you like whale fat.
But anyway, as Stephen King wrote in the series of books, the Gunslinger series or the Dark Tower series.
I love those books. The Dark Tower.
Yeah, the world has moved on, right? So.
Oh yeah, keeps going.
Great series of books, by the way. Awesome series of books. If you've ever read any of the other series of books or any other books that Stephen King has written, anything from Christine, Firestarter, the Wizard, was it Wizard's Glass?
That's one of the Dark Tower books.
Well, okay. What is the one about?
Salem's Lot.
No, there was one they actually made a movie out of it where it had Anthony Hopkins, and it was about this kid.
And he's like, the guy knows he's there's a Come Town bit about this where he's like the kid's like secretly gay and he can read his mind. He's like, because he's like one of the people that can shine, and so he's like,
yeah,
you secretly like men, don't you? Yeah, I know. What is that movie? What is that movie called?
But the bottom line is all these different.
I'll look it up while you're doing. Yeah,
all these different books that Stephen King wrote. All of those things. Those were all villains or monsters that originated from
Hearts in Atlantis.
Hearts in Atlantis. Yes, that's it. Those were all books that the monsters in those books they all originated from the Dark Tower.
It's the Nexus. World. It's the place where the worlds meet.
Yes, and
So and the Gunslinger is like one of the coolest characters ever. Like,
yes,
I don't know, it's like a hero class you would want to play in a game, you know.
But I'll tell you what you don't want to do. Under everything that you can do, never, ever, ever, ever watch the movie.
Oh no,
The Dark Tower. Don't do it.
No, with Idris Elba, it's horrible. It has Matthew
McConaughey in it. Yes.
All right.
Do not watch that movie.
Doesn't he play Randall Flagg?
Yes.
Yeah, he plays the.
He calls Randall Flagg.
Oh shit! Did I just spoil it? Oh my bad.
Yeah, well, don't fucking watch the movie. It's horrible. Read the books.
But the audiobooks are fantastic, by the way. George Guidall reads the first. No. The first few books are read by a really amazing voice actor, but then he dies, unfortunately, halfway through recording them. And then the rest of the books are read by, I think, George Guidall. But either way, all the ones that are on Audible, worth your money, every dollar.
Well, I just read them myself. I didn't have Audible. So
Dark Tower, Zero Core. Well, if you're illiterate like me and you need audiobooks, there you go. Also paints a nice picture for you.
Yeah. I've had a few audiobooks. Have you
read The Witcher?
No, I have not, and I need to, but I have.
Those are good. They're so fun. Like, cause I don't remember, and we'll get back to the main story here in a second. But just on a side. I can't remember reading a series of books that really took me out of like put me into the world like The Witcher did.
Yeah.
Since I read the Dark Tower books. So you'll really love them. They're great.
Yeah. I really didn't have anything else really to say about the quote unquote main story. That's pretty much what just that, the hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying? As far as, Facebook and Instagram being okay with calling for or using hate speech, and as they label it, and calling for the death of different leaders of countries. They're okay with that. But
besides the parody of like these people who claim to be the social betters of our society and trying to mold a world that is peaceful and whatever, besides that outright just comedy, the fact that if you just look at the inconsistencies, like you said, the hypocrisy there, you start to understand what they're up to and why, or not necessarily why, because you'd have to be like clairvoyant, you know, or like into backdoor meetings, but you can make, you know, estimations as to like what they're doing. So,
well, you know, and there's, and kind of to further on to this, recently former President Trump sat down with the host of the Full Send podcast. Was you aware of this?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Okay. He sat down.
Was telling me about that.
Yeah. He sat down, had it was about an hour-long podcast that they released. During the podcast, former President Trump stated to him, said, listen, if you don't put this up, I don't blame you. And they said, well, why wouldn't we put this up? He goes, if you put this up, YouTube will take it down. And they're like, no, YouTube won't, no, they won't do that. And the video was up roughly about 24 hours, got over 5 million views, and YouTube took it down for, what was it, misinformation and
dude, it's fucking nuts how like they've just swept the entire platform, finding any re-upload, and just immediately deleting it. Because like I've even looked, you can
can find it. It's
YouTube,
out there.
Yeah, YouTube filters their shit. If you didn't know this, about 2 years ago, YouTube started filtering their searches based off of what they consider to be misinformation.
Yep.
So if you would like to find, like, say, you look for something like, I don't know. Oh God, what am I getting? You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I'm saying it. If you search for Denver Airport and you wanted to see a conspiracy video about Denver Airport, now you would search that and you'd see scholarly videos based that what they consider, you know, with low view count in ratings by like CBS or something, calling those conspiracies stupid. But if you go to the search settings and you click view count or something like that, you'll then see the tinfoil hat conspiracy. I'm not saying those are valid or anything, so don't fucking clip us, YouTube. But I'm just saying, you know, they curate your searches based off of what they consider to be worthwhile. Or
there are other links out there, or other hosts or platforms that does actually have the podcast. You just will not find people were trying to re-upload it to YouTube, but due to YouTube's ability to do content ID, they immediately were able to ID it and take it down. So no, you will not find it on YouTube, but
yeah, you won't. A lot of the stuff I used to watch on like Freedom of Information Act reports and CIA ops, like Project Artichoke or MK Ultra, stuff like that. Yeah. You ever hear about the Denver Airport one? Yeah,
there's a lot of conspiracies in and around. Yeah, I don't know all of them, but I know that there are a lot of conspiracies in and around.
There's some kooky stuff to all that stuff, but then you're like, why did they have the fences facing inward? And then it's like, why do they have sprinkler heads on the ground and miles of tunnels in, like, you know, rooms? It's like,
probably because it's a fallout shelter. If I had to take a guess, like, why not? I mean,
you're like, what's going on with that?
I'm sure it is. So, but
like you have fences like that at prisons, you know?
Well, sure.
Keep people in.
Well, again, if it was going to be used or as like a fallout shelter or some sort of disaster, you know, bunker type thing, you would.
I love going down the rabbit holes. I know I'm incorrigible, and I'm like, I just like the mystery of it. I don't care if it's really not like. It's fun to go down those rabbit holes because there's a certain amount of stuff that's not available to the public based off of what the government does and all that stuff. Like, and that's fine. We're not supposed to know any of that stuff. I'm fine with that. That's totally cool. But if you'll see some of that stuff pop up in real life, and there'll be all kinds of crazy theories as to why, but you know, it's just interesting to see things that are like mysterious. I don't know. So like Cheyenne Mountain, it's like, what's going on in Cheyenne Mountain? How deep does that complex go and all that stuff? It's like, you could go for days and thinking there's like an underground city under, you know, in Colorado or something. And it's just fun.
There might be.
So, yeah.
with between the
Area
Illuminati.
51 is the best one. Yeah.
Between the Illuminati and between the Freemasons. Who knows what's going on? Right?
Don't even get me started on those.
So anyway, this next little tidbit of information.
I was just making sure we didn't get any traction on the show today. Sorry.
I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah. So this next little tidbit of information, and shout out to Joey Westside. He provided an article on this as well. So remember, guys, we have a channel called Viewer News. So if there's something that pops up that is of interest to you, that you feel like might be of interest to us, that you think we might want to cover, whatever, that we have a channel in our Discord. You can go share information there, with us, and we'll take a look at it. Like I say, Joy shared this, but which it's going to fall right into to this next segment that we're talking about. So this next segment, it came out this week that Alec Baldwin, after he was shooting that movie Rust, there where the videographer. I think that was what the young lady's position was. But anyway, this Helena videographer, yeah, Helena Hutchinson was was tragically killed. Right. Well, Alec Baldwin after the movie, or after the shooting rather, was encouraging the rest of the crew to complete the movie to benefit Helena's family. Right. Says that Alec Baldwin wanted the cast and crew of the Western film Rust to complete filming after the fatal on-set incident as a way to honor the late cinematographer, and a new court filing claims. It says on October 21st, the 42-year-old cinematographer was shot and killed on the New Mexico set, and Baldwin was holding the gun that discharged, shooting her and director Joe Souza, who also survived his injuries. Baldwin's legal team said in an arbitration filing against the film's other producers obtained by the New York Times on Friday that the 63-year-old actor tried to encourage the Rust cast and crew to complete the movie during the weeks following Hutchinson's death. He reportedly made a plan to support her husband Matthew and their son, who was 9 years old, through the movie profits and an insurance payout, the news outlet reported. Now that's bad in itself, right?
Well, Zero Core asked, the message is gone now, but he said that he was like, how did she die exactly? And it's like these articles purposely, like, because when this first happened, I was looking through a ton of articles because they purposely obfuscate how it happened to kind of keep the narrative a little cleaner. Essentially what happened, if you go, we had an episode on this. About the girl who had a gun. I'm not sure.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, we did do. We did have, when this first happened, we covered it.
But TLDR,
yeah,
he was playing with the hammer on the gun, and there was a live round inside chambered.
Yeah,
and he let the hammer go, and boom, and she was standing on the receiving end of that firearm, pretty close too.
But there's been numerous videos made, and you can find them on YouTube by handgun experts, armorers that have the model of gun that was being used on the set, and they definitively proved that what Alec Baldwin was saying, if the gun was fully functioning as it was supposed to function, right, that it was not damaged in some way, what he is saying is false. You had to squeeze the trigger. Yeah, that's been proved definitively. But again, I want to
the trigger too.
Yeah, I want to caution and say that
allegedly.
Well, we don't know what the condition of the firearm was that was used on set, right? So there
disclaimer: this is speculation, and we are not liable to
well,
be sued.
yeah, that we don't know what, was it in full working order or not? We don't know that. All I'm saying is these experts have shown that if the gun was in proper working order, his statement is not factual. They've proven this, right? So that's bad enough, and I think that it is that he wanted to continue, with the filming of the and pushing the crew and the cast to finish it, but it doesn't end there, guys. No, in a article that was put out by the New York Post here, it says here that Alec Baldwin filed papers Friday denying any responsibility for shooting dead Helena Hutchinson. Now, that in itself is not new news. He has denied any culpability in this from the get-go. We covered that on this show. We showed the video where he was being interviewed by George Stephanopoulos, or Mr. Snuffleupagus, I guess. And he denied,
softballed him so many. He gave him so many softball questions.
Yeah. He adamantly denied any type of culpability in this at all, right?
What a hero you are for killing that lady.
But it gets worse, right?
He didn't say that. It's me being sarcastic.
Yeah, he said, it goes on to say that even blaming the late cinematographer for giving him the directions that led to the deadly accident. The 63-year-old actor insisted that every single mistake leading to the October 21st shooting on the New Mexico set of Rust was performed by somebody else. So I guess somebody else had the gun. I guess somebody else pulled the hammer back. I guess somebody else, supposedly, according to these other experts, had the trigger depressed. Supposedly.
So
right?
what he have a dissociative state where he's like, I'm Patricia now, not Alec Baldwin. I don't understand. What do you mean somebody else? Who is holding the gun?
I don't know.
Didn't the police report definitively say that, Baldwin was holding the firearm?
Yes, he was.
Didn't by Baldwin's own statements he was holding the firearm in the Stephanopoulos interview? Yeah. So, what do you mean somebody else is responsible? Like I said, you have a dissociative state. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. I was in my head palace.
Yeah, his exactly. His lawyer goes on to state in this briefing this filing says this is a rare instance when the system broke down and someone should be held legally culpable for the tragic consequences. The star's lawyer Luke Nikas wrote in a arbitration filing Friday. That person is not Alec Baldwin, and the filing adding that he is just an actor. He's just an actor. Well, anyway, goes on to say here that even without cause, Baldwin
grown man can't take responsibility for his own actions. Right. Jesus Christ.
Baldwin was completely innocent in the unthinkable tragedy, and according to the filing, which revealed he was paid $250,000 to star in and produce the low-budget Western. So
nice. Oof. Oh yeah, oof.
Oof. Yeah. So
big oof.
I was raised that, we're humans, right? And so we are inherently.
Speak for yourself, Jack. I'm a transcendent being from the plane of Xenu.
Okay.
I shall ascend one day, return to my ancestral planetary sphere that is not this planet.
Okay.
No, I am beyond you mortals. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, we're human.
You're a neckbeard who needs to go out, touch grass, and get laid. Let's not go past that, okay?
I stare at grass all day, dude. That's what I do. I go outside. People wonder what I do for a living all day, and I literally go outside. I have a journal. It's right here. Hold on. See? The government gives me this journal. I work for the government. And I go outside and I study the grass and I write to take notes. It's all notes about grass.
Do you ever roll the grass up and smoke it?
No, I wouldn't do that. That's a sin.
That's a sin. Okay. Oh man. I was just, we're human and human beings are flawed. We're flawed creations. And but as a man, I was raised to with the understanding
You're raised as a man.
I was raised to be a man, and what that encapsulated is to understand that you're going to make mistakes, but you own those mistakes. You apologize for the mistake. You learn from the mistake, and then you move on, hopefully never to repeat that mistake. Right?
Yeah, as long as you take responsibility.
You take
There's
responsibility.
Like there's reaction to how somebody acts. It's like you own up to your shortcomings and you take responsibility. Forgiveness path. You deny what happened and you immaturely blame everyone else around you. Yeah. Then everybody treats you rightfully with disdain.
Yeah.
And mockery.
Man.
Endless brutality.
So it's some good entertainment news.
Let's hope.
Yeah. So IGN's reporting that Deadpool 3 is a go, and they are looking at Sean Levy to direct it. Now, Sean Levy directed Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy, which, if you have not seen it, is currently streaming on Disney Plus, and it's a fun movie. It's an entertaining movie. I enjoyed it, but then again, I enjoy Ryan Reynolds movies. I even enjoyed him playing the Green Lantern. Okay, so don't at me on this, right?
Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. That honestly, that was a horrible movie. Terrible. Like it didn't even have. There was no. Where was it going to go?
It wasn't Oscar worthy.
It can't be in both the DC universe and the Marvel universe.
It wasn't okay. It wasn't Oscar worthy. I will grant you that. Okay, but it wasn't just a pile of steaming shit either, right? There was some. It was
a pile of steaming shit. Like the guy that played, what was his name? Mephisto. What's his guy? What's his name?
Yeah.
Is it Mephisto?
Yeah, the yellow light or lantern.
Big brain.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'm not up on all the Green Lantern lore, so forgive me.
It was very stupid. I didn't like it.
I enjoyed the movie. Okay, so deal with it. But he also recently directed Reynolds in a movie called The Adam Project, which is on Netflix. Now, last night I went up to my mom's. Me and the wife went to my mom's, and my mom fixed us dinner. And then after dinner, we sat down. We actually watched this movie, The Adam Project. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie. It hit very hard with me. I don't want to spoil the movie. I don't want to give away anything, but there were portions of this movie that really resonated with me. And it did get me in my feels several times.
So it's a wholesome movie.
It is a very wholesome movie, and it's a good movie. It's if you have Netflix and you have the ability to watch this movie, I 100% would recommend 2 thumbs up, right, on this movie. It's really good. There's a young actor, and I'm sorry, I don't know what his name is, but there's a boy in this movie.
Oh, Haley Joel Osment.
No, it's not Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, he sees dead people.
Yeah,
he's just permanently that age for the rest of his life.
They
went back in time and got Haley Joel Osment from AI, and then put him into this movie. And ironically, it's a movie about time travel. So
exactly,
it is more like a docudrama, really.
But anyway, so
stupid.
He does a very good job. This was his acting debut. By
the way, did you ever see AI? Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but it was the last Kubrick film that, and then Kubrick died while writing it or making it, and Steven Spielberg picked up the rest of the filming.
I don't think I did. I don't think I have.
Okay. No. It's good for like the first 10 minutes, and then you notice immediately whenever Kubrick died and Steven Spielberg picked up the rest of the writing. Yeah, you're like, okay.
The tempo and everything changed.
It's completely off base. It's like like he had no idea where Kubrick was going. So yeah, it's bad.
So the takeaway from all this though is that that I wanted to share with everyone. I think this is good. Is that Deadpool 3 has been confirmed to be now officially part of the MCU. Yes, and it will receive a R rating.
I don't know how that's going to work.
Kevin Feige or whatever.
Feige. Well, how are they going to have Deadpool be rated R and a part of the multiverse?
Disney?
Like they could have it disconnected. Like it'll be there and they'll have cameos like from other players. And I don't know how that'll work.
What do you mean, as far as just being part of the MCU itself, or are you talking
he'll
about?
He'll never be able to be part of like the actual Avengers type thing. Like
why?
I don't see. I mean, like, how are they going to put him into a PG-13 PG movie?
Okay, so here's what's happening. And if you don't, maybe not everybody follows, entertainment stuff.
I'm aware because so, Deadpool was owned by Fox, and so was the X-Men franchise.
That's correct, but now
it's
all underneath the MCU now, right? It's all been brought back in. Disney owns it,
acquisitions, baby.
Yeah. So here's what happened, and this was just recently announced. The Punisher, Daredevil, what was it? Jones on Netflix. She was a superhero. They did a whole, and then like Iron Fist. They had the Defenders. They were called the Defenders. I can't remember what her name was.
No.
But anyway,
I stopped watching the Marvel shit after.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was like 4 or 5 characters that was part of the Marvel universe.
Luke Cage and all that.
Yeah, Luke Cage. Yes, yeah. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher, all of that, right, was done under Netflix. They have been removed from Netflix. They are coming to Disney Plus. What Disney Plus is doing... Okay, here's what they're doing. Mm. Disney Plus has seen the analytics, and the biggest consumer of their videos, their IPs, if you will, right, is people who are in their 20s and 30s, 40s, so forth, right, because of that Marvel and all that, right?
People my age, yeah.
So what they're going to do is it's still going to be under the umbrella of Disney and the Disney Plus streaming platform, right? But they're going to have a sub-platform over here that is the more adult-orientated videos that are not the more kid or the traditional safe Disney type videos. So you're going to be able to go there and watch all those shows from Netflix. They're going to be bringing in, Deadpool is going to be brought over there onto the Disney Plus streaming. I can remember, here's the thing. Back up until I think it was like in the early 80s, Disney had never received a video rating that was not above a PG. There was PG and G. That's all they ever got, right? PG and G. Then they made a movie called Splash that starred Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks, I believe it was, where Daryl Hannah was a mermaid. Okay.
What?
Yeah. And Tom Hanks, and anyway, it's a thing. If you see it, go watch it. It was the first time that Disney ever received a PG-13 rating, and
wait a minute.
And
was it that movie where that kid was like his mom was a mermaid and his parents adopted him or some shit?
No.
Because that was on like Nickelodeon or Disney back when I was a kid.
It's called Splash.
He found out he started turning into a mermaid when he was in high school. It was stupid.
No, it's not at that all. This was a movie made back in the 80s. This was probably made maybe even before you were born.
Yeah, I wasn't born in the 80s. Sorry, Jack.
But yeah, exactly. Nerdy John is correct. It's Disney After Dark, right? But this movie, when it received PG-13, people lost their minds, right? Because Disney had never received that type of rating before, right? Hello there, New Audio 6. But so anyway, when they received that rating, so now that they are bringing Deadpool underneath this umbrella of Disney, right? And it's going to have an R rating. Yeah, people go, oh my God. Yeah, it's, oh my God. Yeah. Big deal. Happening. it's just going to be content. Well, okay. Look at the second. Was it the second? No, the first Deadpool. Who did he have in the first Deadpool?
Colossus was in there, wasn't he?
Okay, Colossus was in there in
Or was that
Jubilee.
Deadpool 2?
And it was Jubilee, right?
No, I thought it was Earthquake or whatever.
Or Earthquake, whatever. But bottom line was we had X-Men in.
The chick with the fists that could cause like
yeah.
activity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or is that not her? I don't know.
I think he was in the first one too. I thought Colossus was actually in the first one too. I may be mistaken on that. I'm not.
He used to be my favorite X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just turned his body into metal and went on, right? So
yeah, he's like the Juggernaut, the good Juggernaut.
Yeah. As long as you don't have, as long as there was no magnet around, he didn't have anything to worry about, right?
Vinnie Jones played Juggernaut. Did you know that?
Who?
Vinnie Jones, the guy from all the Guy Ritchie films.
No, I didn't. No. Anyway,
obscure reference. Go ahead.
So anyway, we are getting a Deadpool 3. It is going to be part of the MCU, which means potentially could see more X-Men characters now because they're going to definitely be brought in. I would tell you this: probably look for some X-Men action in this new multiverse of madness, starring Doctor Strange. I feel like
Hugh Jackman is about to make a lot of money.
I feel like that's probably how they're going to bring them in or introduce them. I could be wrong.
Well, what's stupid is like Wolverine is like the main fucking character. If you go and look into like the fucking cartoon, not even just the cartoon, like the comics, like Wolverine is such a pivotal character in the series. Like when it comes to fighting Galactus or whatever the hell his name is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the question is,
doesn't he go into the future and like find Cable or whatever? It's been a long time since I read the comics. Or
no, Cable actually come back. Cable came back, I believe it was in the comics
to get Wolverine.
Yeah, and so but Wolverine in the last movie they made for X-Men, Wolverine actually traveled back in time, and the reason why they were able to do it was because he was the only X-Men that had lived that long back into that period of time. He was able to go back into they traveled back into the 70s.
So you can only travel back to where you lived?
Well, it was kind of a weird thing. They had a mutant that had the ability to jump. They could jump in time and stuff. And so that's how they were staying ahead of what those things called, the big robots that came after them and stuff.
Galactic is his minions or whatever.
Yeah, right? And it's been a while since I watched the movie, but
essentially, and then there was the Phoenix, which was an even bigger threat. I think.
Yeah.
But that was that was X-Men 3, and they didn't even really show how fucking.
Which one? There was two of them. Right,
what,
they did the original X-Men cast where they had Jean Grey that became,
and then became
Phoenix and Wolverine killed her, right?
Yeah,
because she was going nuclear basically.
Yeah.
But then they did the relaunch of X-Men, and they had a thing where that actress was playing that played Jean Grey became the Phoenix again. And it was actually called the movie was actually called X-Men Phoenix, I believe it was. And I don't know if I remember
when was this?
Oh yeah. It was in that whole series when they
I never watched all that.
Yeah. Well, that's
with James McAvoy playing Professor X, and then there was Michael Fassbender playing Magneto. Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence playing Mystique.
Yeah. And then the very last one of that series that they made with those new ones, they actually had like a whole time convergence thing that occurred that had both X-Men. So it had Patrick Stewart there as Professor X, and then they also had the new Professor X. It was a whole convoluted mess. But talking
about Dark Phoenix is what Nerdy John says.
Yeah, and yes, Wolverine was not originally part. He was actually part of that Canadian team. What was it called? It was like X-Men, but it was all mutants who were from Canada, and I can't remember the name of it. But yeah,
was it the Dark X-Men? Because that was a thing. There was the something Force and X Force or whatever.
But even before then, he was called Weapon X.
Dude, there were
And
so many branches off into like subgroups and stuff because it was so popular to get like a comic back in the day. This is before I was born, but there were comics that were like, it was such a big deal to like, because people were like, well, what if in this universe, like they were all zombies or something?
exactly.
You know, that was such a big thing. So then now there's like so many multiverses inside of the comic books. You can get, it's really easy to get confused.
100%. But anyway, so we are going to get a Deadpool 3. It is going to be in the MCU, and it's going to be underneath the Disney umbrella. So
why does Repsion look like he fell down the alt-right pipeline on your other screen?
I don't know. We're fixing to get into that story. So Repsion. So yesterday, Repsion put out this tweet here. His girlfriend, his current girlfriend that he has.
Oh God.
She's a tattoo artist. The shop where she works was broke into. The only person whose equipment was messed with was hers. Her tattoo gun was stolen. A bunch of her supplies was, I guess, dumped out all over the floor, what have you. On other stations, they're in the tattoo parlor. People had like iPads, their guns, so on and so forth. None of that stuff was touched, according to what Repsion says here. He was saying his girlfriend was 100% the target. This was a targeted attack. He said that the police even are saying this was a targeted attack.
Who's Jane? Is that his girlfriend's name or something?
I guess so. Is that where did you
Nerdy
get that?
John's comment? Jane is really nice,
is,
by the way. I talk to her occasionally.
Okay, all right. So yes, I think that may be his newest or his current girlfriend. But he is offering a $2,000 reward to anyone who has info or undeniable proof of who was involved in breaking into his girlfriend's tattoo shop in Lakewood, Washington. This was 100% targeted as they left the employee's tattoo machine, stole hers, and walked black ink all over the floor. Okay.
Seems personal. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he followed this up with, said, due to recent case developments, make out a $3,000 reward. Okay.
Okay. I need to become a private investigator and make my way to Washington.
Right. Yeah. And of course, you know, some of you may or may not know, depending on how much drama you follow and what drama channels. We personally haven't covered it here because it involves characters that, quite honestly, I don't feel like
they're sticky.
Yeah, and I don't feel like really giving them any type of voice, I guess, for lack of a better word. They have their own platforms and whatever.
Kind of, crazy.
Yeah, that's the kind of crazy I don't need in my life. But
and on that note, I have to take a piss.
Okay, so Repsion, his ex-girlfriend, and they did not have a amicable parting. There were allegations levied by both sides towards the other person. It was just insane. It has been insane. There's been others who have gotten involved, and there's been, you know, countless videos and stuff made. The only thing I'll say is this: if anybody involved in that situation, as far as the if it's just sad, they should not be. If you have issues with somebody or whatever, fine, well, all good. Make videos, take them to task on things that they said, take them to task, hell, on actions that they've done. Fine. But don't go attack their place of business. Don't go destroy the ability for them to make a living. That, to me, is really stepping over the line. And, you know, so if any of the viewers or anybody that watches our podcast or watches the VOD later on, if you have any information on this, please, please reach out to Repsion, I guess, and share that information with them. if it leads to arrest, whatever, then you could put a couple of bucks in your pocket. So,
Sure.
but like I say, just it's always kind of like, I never did understand when people got mad at somebody else why they would go take it out on that person's vehicle, right? Like slashing their tires or spray painting it or busting out windshield. Yeah, why take it out? I mean, anyway, whatever.
Because they're too much of cowards to approach them in person. They have to go fuck with them on the sly.
Yeah.
So
this last story that I have, and this one is kind of I don't want to really get into. I was kind of taking a back up, rewind. Okay, so this last story that we're going to cover, I wasn't shocked that this occurred in the sense that a group of kids beat up another kid. Okay, that happens all the time. You have fights on playgrounds. You have, and this is middle school kids, and so that's why I say playgrounds. You have fights like this type of stuff at school all day. I worked at a public school for about 15 years. Kids getting into fights, and sometimes it would be 2-on-1 or 3-on-1. That stuff happens, right? And they'd fight over stupid stuff, like they feel like there was some sort of slight, or maybe someone said something about someone's girlfriend or whatever. The list is just
kind of like YouTube influencers.
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
It's almost like they're overgrown children. Emotionally, they're stunted at 12.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that does go on YouTube and stuff is definitely like playground type bullshit. But anyway, this one here has a little bit of a twist on it, and it kind of actually shocked me that the words that are being used. So let me just bring up this incident. So what happened was a group of middle school kids were arrested, and they've been charged with a hate crime. Well, that doesn't necessarily shock me in this day and age because, if you go around uttering certain words when you're assaulting somebody, it's labeled as a hate crime, okay? After beating up a group of white kids, now that's where I was like, huh? You're white, it's opposite day, and brown power, okay? So the thing that was shocking to me on this story was the fact that they labeled it an actual hate crime, and that it was, an attack based on race, and they're calling it, they're using that terminology because, and correct me here if I'm wrong, Banana.
Okay.
I did not think you could have racism towards white people. Isn't that what we were told?
If you're following the dictates of these far left wackos, yeah, sure. It's impossible to be racist towards white people.
Okay, so I'm not mistaken on that then, right?
Right.
Okay.
But to address like the actual phrasing, it sounds like, it sounds almost not true. I know. Like
all right, so let's watch the video here, right? So we get a little more context here.
Now at 6, a group of middle school students arrested. Police say they're accused of committing a hate crime near their school. The father of one of the alleged victims talking to 7 News. 7's TJ Parker live where it happened in Coconut Creek, TJ.
And Belkis, I talked with a lot of parents who are obviously very upset about this. All the students involved are students at Lyons Creek Middle School. Coconut Creek police say based on the circumstances here, the attacks were racially provoked. Broward County authorities arresting and charging 5 Lyons Creek Middle School students for attacking and targeting 4 other students in what they call a racially provoked attack. It all happening outside the North Recreation Complex in Coconut Creek Wednesday morning. The student victims told police they were approached by a group of kids yelling, "You are white." They were then tackled and beaten up as the group of attacking kids yelled, "It's opposite day" and "Brown power." The victim students claim they were beaten with sticks and cable cords as well as hit and kicked.
He got out of the car. I think he heard some noises and some kids started saying, "We're going to get revenge on you for what you did in the past," and he got jumped.
The father of one of the students attacked says what happened is inexcusable.
It's concerning that what's going on in the school, and they don't really seem to be doing much about it, and the steps they take don't really protect the kids.
All right, so the school principal did send out a robocall to parents saying they are aware of this situation and also working with police on this. The students accused in this are charged with battery and prejudice while committing battery. We are live in Coconut Creek tonight.
Yeah, they do a robocall because, you know, the second you call fucking parents, they're going to have to answer those questions that are really hard to answer. Like, what's going on in the school system? Well, if you're somebody who's incompetent and can't do your job, you can't really answer those questions in a satisfactory way. You usually cause more problems. So we'll just automate that process.
Exactly. So I was kind of taken back.
No, Zero Core. Zero Core says, "Wait, what the fuck? I'm so confused."
Okay,
now, so these are white. Hold on. Stop talking over me. Wait, what the fuck? I'm so confused now. So those are white kids doing this? Question mark. No. Go ahead.
No, Zero, they're not. What it was is you had some students of color. I don't know if they were Latino or if they were black, but they were going around and were assaulting kids who were white, saying it was opposite day, and chanting brown power and telling these kids that basically that this beating that they were taking was occurring because of things that they did in the past. Basically, this is under that mindset of if you are white, then you're guilty of all the things that occurred to people of color in the past. You're guilty by association, right? And so
I have a hard time believing that like a group of white kids were just like, or not white kids, a group of kids came up and were just like, you are white, and then started.
Why is that so hard to believe? Why is that sort of?
Well, it just seems like a very strange way to approach a group of people. You are white.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do we in this nation have a history of rolling up to a certain part of a city and attacking people because they were exiting a club that was noted to be a gay bar, and attacking them solely because they were suspected of being gay? Did that happen? Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
did we have a history in the past where people who were white would roll up and beat the shit out of somebody just because they were black? Yes. The bottom line is this: human beings, is like I said earlier, we're flawed, right? And some of us are flawed worse than others. And so rather than admitting that we're flawed and dealing with that flaw and trying to come to terms so that you don't give in to these, right? People hate people based upon their skin, right? That is something that has gone on in this country. We hate people based upon who they choose to love. This nation has, so the fact that these young people were attacking people of a different race and blaming them because of their skin color, that is not shocking to me.
Yeah, I meant more. It's like an NPC conversation you see in Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It's just the syntax of it. It's strange, you know.
Well, I think what the syntax of what's so strange is the fact that they are actually using terms of a hate crime here. That this was racially charged. That this is because that's not something we normally hear. Yeah. When like when you have a person that is white that assaults a person that is of color, then it's always labeled as a hate crime because you had a white person beating up a black person, right? So it had to be a racial crime. It had to be a hate crime. It had to be based because this person was a black skinned person. So it's always, those terms are used in that context, always, right?
Nerdy John, I want to point out a comment Nerdy John makes. I think it's pretty accurate. Nerdy John says, schools are so useless. They punish the kid who is getting bullied more than the actual bullies. And it's like, yeah, when I was in middle school, I went to like a very rough middle school in a bad part of town. And there was a group of kids that jumped me one day and unprovoked. And so I defended myself, and guess who got a suspension?
You did.
Because I should have sat there and took punches and kicks.
Yes.
And my dad, when he went up to I remember my dad telling me, he's like, you did absolutely nothing wrong. And even at the school board meeting, when they were talking about how like I was part of the aggression or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because I defended myself and they were going to suspend me. He's like,
Yeah.
well, good. And I think he told them to go fuck themselves too.
Yeah.
And he let me play video games for like a week. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was rewarded. Yeah. Cause I didn't sit there and like get fucking pummeled, you know?
You know, like I said, I worked at a school district, like I said, for about 15 years. And Nerdy John, to a certain degree, is correct. There's an actual federal law that schools are supposed to adhere to about no bullying, right? Zero tolerance for bullying. If it is proven that that one child is bullying another child, there are supposed to be severe consequences that occur, right? In actuality, that does not happen. It never happens. A child is never sent home for bullying another student. They're never put in ISS or any type of detention of whatever. They're basically pat on the head, told not to do it again, and sent on their way. The problem is that since there is no teeth behind, there's no actual punitive thing that occurs. The child continues to bully. There's no, and I'm not talking about teasing and calling of names and that, which in itself is bullying.
It's a hazing thing. Really.
But and I went through it, and I'm not saying that it's okay to go through it, because it is not. Is it detrimental to that young person's mental health? Yeah, there's an impact there, but. And I don't want to say more of that because
when you have kids.
You know.
Sorry, I was just gonna say when you have, to add to your point, when you have kids who are basically, their egos are fueled by like no consequence. They're little fucking dictators, you know. They're god kings of their own little universe because nobody ever told them no, and they go around fucking abusing the weakest people they can find because it's easy. Because they know they won't talk or speak up or stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
And you then punish the kid. Like, what the fuck kind of, like, it's like Louis C.K.'s bit. It's like, what chance does a kid have? It's like, you fucking, you tell them they're wrong for sticking up for themselves, and you encourage that kind of behavior. What do you expect to happen? But no, we're all very enlightened these days with the kind of like anti-violence rhetoric. And instead of disarming a child and saying no or having some consequences, we're just going to say, you know what? Good job, buddy.
Well,
it's just,
I raised my sons.
Stupid.
I raised my sons not to bully anybody. I raised my sons not to pick on anyone or to start fights. But I also told my sons that they were to stand up for themselves, and they were not to be anybody's, just not take any bullshit, right? Now, what I mean by that is, if someone's bullying you and calling you, some of the terms that kids call each other at that age, to try to psychologically, it's psychological warfare. I told my kids not to pay any. Is it true? No. Then ignore it. Right. If it's not true, let it be like water on a duck's back and run off. Right. Fuck that. However,
your reaction fuels it. Yeah,
exactly. However, if they, the thing of it is that with bullies and the mindset that bullies have, especially at that age group or whatever, high school, junior high, middle school, if the taunting and teasing doesn't elicit the reaction that they want, if you don't give in and respond to it in any way or what have you, then they will escalate it, right? And they will start laying hands on you, right? Pushing, shoving, trying to trip you, the whatever, right? At that point in time, I told my sons, if they lay hands on, it's pound time. Beat the living shit out of them until someone drags you off of them.
Yeah.
Make sure they understand that fuck them. And I said, here's the thing. I promise you, not one damn thing will happen to you. There will not be suspension. There will not be anything, because if the bullying and shit was not stopped by the school system, especially when we made shit aware, right? You go and you say, hey, these children, these kids, they are harassing, they're bullying my child. If the school system did not put a stop to it, and then they want to punish my child because he beat the shit out of somebody, that's fine. That's what you want to do. We go to court because you didn't adhere to federal law. You take them to court. You sue the shit out of them. You make it a federal case because that's what it is. It's a federal law, right? It's basically a violation of their civil rights that that federal law has established, right? That you're not supposed to be bullied. And that's what's going to happen is some of these, we have to kind of go back to this old mentality, this old mindset, like I was raised. You don't start the fight, but you, by God, finish the damn thing, right? Now, in a situation when you got a Roman pack of assholes like these kids were, you got 4 or 5, and I guarantee you they did not round the four or five other kids up at once and just attack them. No, they singled them out one at a time. Why? Because that's what fucking bullies do, right? Because they don't have, they're not powerful. They're small people. And so they're trying to make other people feel weak and belittled so that they feel better about themselves, right? So they'll single these people out, and they did this in a 4 or 5 on 1 scenario. Well, it's damn hard to fight back on that situation, right? But you, by God, give it all you got, right?
Yeah.
So Zero says the getting bullied in school is why his mom sent him to martial arts class. Funny thing is, while learning how to drop a person fast, I also learned how to walk away from a potential fight using my mouth. Exactly.
Yep. Same here, Zero Core. That's exactly what happened to me. It's worth every penny to have that training.
Yeah. People, I was harassed and bullied in school. Why? Because I wasn't always fat like I am now, but I was always tall. I was always big, right? But I was not an aggressive person. I was not, I was always very just mild, timid, easygoing. I was the gentle giant, as they say, right? And you had these kids who were smaller than me that felt like by punking me or punching me or beating on me or whatever, that made them, that would raise their standing or whatever, right? Yeah. And I did my best to try to avoid fights everywhere I went because it was just not something that I was interested in doing, right? But the problem is people reach their boiling point, and when that happens, shit gets fucked up. And I did fuck some people up in high school.
Nobody fuck with me in high school because I grew up to 6'1". But like I was the type of kid too. I was quiet, and I was literally the kid that brought his fucking Bionicles to school and his Legos.
Yeah.
And so like I wouldn't talk to anyone. I would just be in my own head. Yeah. And so I was prone to being picked on. Yeah. And I had to learn fucking the hardest fucking way possible how to become a social person. Yeah. Because I said I was a poorly socialized kid. I had no social skills whatsoever. Yeah. And it was just made me a prime target. I also wouldn't speak up for myself either. Like I wouldn't ask for help or anything like that. I was very quiet. And so I'd get isolated a lot by those type of people. But whenever I got to high school, like I said, I shot up I got to like 6 foot, and then people just left me the fuck alone. So
yeah, well, see, I was like 6'1" or so in like 6th grade.
Oh yeah, you big boy.
I was from the get go. I was not, so. But anyway, bottom line is just let's just try to be nice to people. You can have a differences of opinions and whatever, right? But the thing about it is we had bullying when I was a kid, right? There was bullying, hell, there was fighting, there was whatever, right? I don't know, but these days kids want to resort to like the ultimate extreme violence, and they want to take guns on campus and just start shooting kids. And
oh Jesus! Luckily, that didn't happen in any of my school situations. Like I even was the asshole in high school too. I never was bullied in high school, but I did mouth off to people that I thought were annoying or stuff like that. And there was this one time this guy really did punk me when I was in high school, and I deserved it, Frank, because of being a dickhead. And I was just mad at everyone in the world, and I didn't really have anything figured out yet. I was just a little angsty brat. And I can't remember what I said, but I was like, I remember I was talking shit because he was like telling the story. It was an athletic guy. It was like a guy in football.
Yeah.
And he's like something about, he said he's going to come over there. And I was like, you won't do shit. And then he walked over and I stood up and I was like, go sit back down. And then he slapped me because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for anything. And I looked at him and I looked at the teacher and she was like, she looked at me and I was like, you're not going to do anything. And, cause it was that wimpy, it was that cowardly thing that I was trying to get a reaction out of him and then get him in trouble.
Yeah.
And then the teacher said, you started this shit. So, if you're going to go, like that's the look she gave me. Anyways, I got punked by him and I learned a lesson. It's like, I could have really gotten one of us hurt. And it was it was one of those stupid things that you end up, you're being an arrogant little fucker,
The last altercation I ever got in, I was probably about, I don't know, I was like 10th grade, maybe something like that. And there was this little dude, and he definitely had, the little man syndrome, whatever, but he was a tormentor. He just tormented, and he had other, buddies around him that was always egging him on and shit, Mm-hmm. And finally one day I reached my limit, and we got into it, and the fight was essentially this. He came running at me. I grabbed him by his shirt, double-handed, or grabbed his shirt like this, and I literally picked him up off the ground and was holding him like 2 or 3 feet off the ground and was looking at him right eye to eye, right? And basically told him, I said, do you really want to continue this? His feet's kicking in the ground, in the middle of the air. What the hell is he going to do, right? Basically showing him I would hurt him.
Badly. Yeah.
And, so I just kind of tossed him like a sack of taters. And funny thing is about 2 or 3 years ago, I ran into him. He's actually a cop now. And, and it was,
really?
Yeah, we were cool. I mean, everything was cool. We were adults, and so it was like, we didn't even talk about shit. We just kind of laughed about, things back in school and stuff. And
you're both fully grown.
Yeah. And so it was, that's the thing I'm saying is that things back in that time frame when we were going through it seemed like such a big thing, and it seemed like such a,
and it's not.
And it's not. And that's the one thing that I'm really glad that I didn't, we didn't have to deal with what some of these kids do with some of these crazy assholes that take these, they don't ever get to go and say, look back and laugh. Why? Because somebody comes in and decides to, shoot the damn place up. That they don't have that ability to look back and laugh on us. Even back then though, I mean, you have altercations with somebody, whatever, and then that weekend or whatever, you'd see them at a party somewhere and have a couple of beers with them and laugh. And I've
been the guy that like stood up for himself and, defended himself. And I've also been the asshole who picked a fight that he shouldn't have. So like, I feel that I had one guy one time when I was in, I think it was middle school. His name was Juan, and it was a guy I really shouldn't have messed with because he was like off. And looking back, like he was like one of those kids, a trench coat kid.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, I was talking, cause I've always been a shithead who talks shit, like just tries to get at people. And it's a bad quality that I've had that, I've fixed over the years. But, I was picking at him, and then he just came up to me and he pulled a knife out and he was like, you want to keep going? Like, that's the kind of vibe. And I was just like, oh, okay, my bad. Sorry. Walk away. Walk away. And I was just like, yeah, never mind. Sorry. I was wrong. You stop messing with people real quick after that kind of thing. It's like, okay, And some people don't play whatsoever.
No, they don't.
No, they're ready to do it. Yeah. So, and he was from a very young age. I think he's pretty fucked up. I hope he's doing good now, probably though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah.
So, I think on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up for the day. I've got some things I got to go do, and anything you want to say, Banana?
Don't be racist.
Don't be racist. Hey, Vladimir, is there anything you want to say?
I found my thrill.
I'm glad he found his thrill. And on that note, guys, remember, keep your powder dry and we will see you in the funny papers.